we're saying that one big mistake that you can do is to handle leadership as a student. The moment you are handling leadership as a student, that's where you'll start going wrong. Because leadership as a paper is designed in a way like it is simply to gauge your mind to, of course, think like a manager while handling a situation. So also for the purpose of exams, the best clue that Mwalimu will give us anytime you're handling leadership is for you to approach it with a very clear mind. You are a manager. You're not a student then. You're not a student while handling leadership in terms of exams. You are a manager. So that is one thing that we should avoid. Handling or looking at leadership, that is the time of exams, you're looking at leadership as a student. The other thing that you should also be able to handle anytime you're talking about leadership and management is that other than being an open-minded person, you'll find that leadership at times, majority of the students actually, they normally tend to fail because of one of the main reasons. Yeah. Like leadership at this level, yeah, people normally call it salga. Yeah, people normally call it salga. Benjamin, what normally happens in salga? A lot. Benja, do you know salga?
Not really.
You don't know? You've never heard of salga?
No, sir.
That fruit along Kericho. Wow, you must have. I know Mary on your end. I'm not sure Mary, you're still muted. Mary, have you ever heard of salga?
Yes.
What normally happens in salga? A lot.
A black spot.
Black spot, right? Accidents.
Yes.
Accidents. So leadership at this level, we normally call it salga. A lot of accidents normally happen here because the drivers, maybe they are not keen, and being drivers, you guys are the drivers here. So the secret that Mwalimu has given us, like anytime you're handling leadership, kindly don't approach it as a student. Even through our training, you'll find that I'll be asking you guys a lot of questions in terms of to gauge how you are thinking. Then another secret of this one is not only in leadership, but all the theory papers that you normally tend to do. This is a secret for all the theory papers that you'll ever do in a professional paper. You'll find that another thing that majority of the students they normally tend to miss, now focusing it on the side of exams. At this point, you need to make the work of the marker very easy. You need to make the work of the marker very, very easy. And why is Mwalimu saying this? Mwalimu is saying this because at times you'll find that in all this theory paper, maybe you're asked to explain, say maybe explain 5 factors that maybe talk about, maybe explain 5 characteristics of a good manager. This is just an example. You find that if you're told to explain the characteristics of a good manager, my good students, if at all you want to impress that good marker there, what you should avoid is to give me statement or answers in paragraphs. Like explain 5 characteristics of a good manager. In this case, you start by blah, 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 blah. You give me paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. At this point, it will be very hard for me to know where your point is, because I need to award you a point or a mark based on the point that you presented. So the moment you're giving me all this news, all these stories in terms of paragraph, you're making my work to be very hard. the best way I can do is either to give you 1 mark, assuming this question was 8 marks. Assuming this question was 8 marks. And what you've done is literally you presented your work in this manner, blah, 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 paragraph, 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 paragraph 1, paragraph 2. And maybe you've given four cases. The best I can give you maybe is 3 marks out of 8 marks. The best I can give you is maybe 3 out of 8 marks. So the best way that you can always tend to handle this theory paper, and this is a big secret for you to pass this paper on a 1 attempt. Once you have this paper, you are asked of a good characteristics of a good manager. Number 1, maybe in this case, you can talk about, give me a pointer, understanding, for example. This is just an example, understanding. You tell me this is number 1. After that, you go to explaining what understanding entails. Already you have given me a pointer. In this case, you make my work to be very easy. I've seen, you've said, understanding. That is point number 1. Point number 2, you've come and said maybe in this point, this person should be knowledgeable. Just an example here. This person, of course, should be very knowledgeable in whatever that he or she is doing. Already, you have given me a point. You see, already I've seen what you are explaining. At times, you'll find that by looking at this, I know very well that maybe at this point, this Benjamin or maybe Mary, this student know what he or she is doing. So it will be, in that case, you'll have given me a good attitude toward your paper. So even if at all the marks was allocated 8 marks, once I've seen your presentation, understanding, you've explained it for me there, regardless of whatever that you've written on your paragraph, but I've just seen the main point. Knowledgeable, you've explained it to me here. Trust me, all of this, in this case, maybe I won't even go through everything, but at this point, I will, or I can give you up to 7 marks, because in normal so you can't get 100%. I can give you like 7 marks just by the presentation. Just by the presentation. So once you have this, then you'll find that, this, I'm getting all marks. You kind of find this paper, you're doing it at only once. Leadership is always a salga for CPA because of lack of these strategies. But once you have these strategies, my good students, Mwalimu has given us the best strategy that you can use. And if you apply it, you'll just give me the results. If you apply it, you'll give me the results. So as you are starting, I want us to have that in mind. The other thing that I also want us to have in mind is that we are approaching this paper in a very practical way. We are approaching this paper in a very practical, way. So to do that, let us see what will be expected to cover then. At this point, you'll find that for leadership, talk about the leadership and management. At this level, we are expected to be able to be very good in how many topics? In like 10, not 10, supposed to be 11, 12 topics. Supposed to be 12 topics. It's supposed to be very good in 12 topics. The other one is contemporary or emerging issues. Out of these 12 topics, this is a secret. Number 1, topic that you must always have in your fingertips, because majority of these topics you'll always tend to apply. That one I can tell you for sure. Majority of these topics will always be applying them. What you need to have on hands-on. Number 1 is topic number 1, introduction to management. At all costs, make sure at all costs, make sure that you're good in topic number 1, introduction to management. This foundation is giving us a lead on what will be expected, of course, to do what? To understand. So at all costs, make sure that you're very good in introduction to management, which is our topic number 1. The other area that you need to be very good at is topic number 2. See, topic number 2, talk about evolution and development of management thought. As much as we can apply all other things, but you'll find that for me to apply, I'm given a case, I need to apply, I must have knowledge. This is not one thing that you can just think and give an answer like you being asked the qualities of a good manager. For evolution and development of management, Taylor had his own view on management. Henry Fayol had his own view on about aspect of management. Max Weber had their own specific views, as much as they do relate and they share some common elements, but each individual person had their own views. So you'll find that for you to apply this concept well, you must have the knowledge of the concept. So this topic is not one topic that you can just apply. No, that will be a lie. This is one topic that you can't just apply. That will be a lie. What will be required to have in this topic is the knowledge. Once you have this knowledge, is when you can apply it very well. So kindly mark topic number 1, topic number 2 as the topics that, number 1, we have to just understand keenly and deeply. After that, my good students, focus on topic number 3, which of course for topic number 3 will be about leading as a function. This is also another key area, and this is what now defines why you are studying leadership and management. This is now what defines why we are studying leadership and management. Topic number 3, leading as a function of management. This is now what defines why you are studying leadership. So this is another topic that you should be hands-on. You should be able to understand this topic very well, leading as a function of management. Once I have that, you'll find that all these other elements, we can literally apply them. Then you come to, after that topic, you come to, this should be topic number for marketing, topic number 10. Topic 1, 2, 3, be very good with them, hands-on. Topic number 10, also at this point, you can't apply it clearly. So there are some things that you can apply, but there are some specific knowledge that you just have to have at this point. Marketing and marketing management. That is very key. And by the way, marketing management is one of the most interesting topics that we have in leadership and management, because it gives us an extra eye, a deeper eye on how we should always tend to market, of course, our business, understanding everything in relation to that, now on the side of management. So it's a very interesting topic. The other bit we're having, of course, that is which other topic? Majority of this topic we can always tend to apply. This topic like environmental analysis. Also, under environmental analysis, there are some items that you have to understand. There are some items that you just have to do what you have to understand. Under environmental analysis, there's some key areas that you need to understand. All the other topics, out of the 12 topics, my good students, all the other topics you can apply directly. All the other topics, you can apply them directly. That one I can tell you for sure. So make sure that whatever that Mwalimu has stated for us, we should be perfect on. The rest of the topic, at this point, I'm telling you for free, you can apply them very, very well. Other than the topic that we've specified, the other topics, you can apply them very, very well. So make sure that at this point, make sure that you have it in mind. Make sure that you have it in mind. Make sure that you have it in mind. So after we have talked of that basics, then it will now be important for us to start. Of course, I'll be sharing this syllabus with us. I'd already shared the notes with us, and I believe we've gone through the notes, or of course, we'll be going through the notes. So what we'll be doing, the strategy that will enable us to go as fast as possible. I've shared for chapter 1, chapter 2. I'll also share for the other chapters, 3, 4, 5 as that, but I'll be sharing them in bits like that. So what you'll have to do, take your time, go through the notes, so that when Mwalimu will be in class, what I'll be doing, I'll just be explaining. I'll just be going through whatever that you guys have studied. And also at the same time, we'll also be taking advantage of going through the questions in our past paper. I guide you guys on the best way that you can always tend to handle these questions in our past paper, because you'll find that they are not complicated. They aren't complicated. They are very, very easy. They are not complicated. So of course, I'll be taking time. We'll be looking at these past papers questions and handling them with the notes. That is how we're going to work to clear this thing in advance. So mentioning that, let us go straight introducing topic number 1. That is leadership and management, introduction to management. Introduction to management. That is what I want us to introduce. Introduction to management. This is our topic number 1. Introduction to management. As you have stated that these are one very interesting area. What we will be learning at this point is to simply for us to understand the whole cycle of what management entails. The whole cycle of what management entails. The whole cycle of what management entails. So, just a moment here. So by looking at that, it will be important, right, for us to understand the nature of management. If at all you'll find necessarily to pick some key points which Mwalimu will be sharing, kindly do. But what we'll be looking at are simply whatever that I've already shared in your groups. But of course, there are those key pointers that you can always tend to pick as you progress, so that at least you should also be having something to write. So, number one thing that we need to understand, my good student, is anytime we are talking about management, what must we always kind of think, what will always come at the back of our mind anytime we talk about management? You'll find that, as the word suggests, there is something that you are looking, there's something that you're overseeing. There's something that you're overseeing. Management is something that you're overseeing. And many a times you'll find that this is because you're given a task, or simply this is because you want to achieve something. Now, relating it in a business component, very easy. We normally look at management as a process. It's not a one-thing item. Management is not a one-thing item, but rather you'll find that management is simply a process. A process of doing what? That's the question. At this point, because I need to achieve specific or certain objective. So you'll find that management will simply be a process of, number one, we have to plan, right? We have to organize, and we have to control. What? Organization, resources. Why are we controlling all this? Why are we planning for all this? It is to simply achieve the specific goals that this organization has set, more so in a very effective and efficient manner. So Mwalimu is saying that anytime we are talking about management, a very simple definition of management. So I know there are so many definitions of management, but a very simple definition of management, we normally tend to look at it as the process of, number one, we are talking about planning, organizing, leading and controlling organization. Keyword is resource. See, because this is what you must control. Specifically, these resources will include these items that Mwalimu is giving us here: human, financial, physical, talk about information. The main objective here is to achieve these goals efficiently and effectively. That is one key item as we are introducing management, what we should be able to understand. That first of all, it is always a process, because it is not a one-day affair. It is a process, and that keyword of process should always come in mind. Process. It is a process. It is a process. It is a process. So that is one thing that we should be able to understand. Now, after knowing what management entails, there are these aspects of we are talking about planning. You see, these are now functions of management. Ideally, this part, we're also looking at the main functions of management. Where we're about planning, organizing, you'll find that later on, as we'll be looking at the functions of management, then you'll find it to be amongst the main parts. So after we have understood what management is, another person will ask, then, if management is a process, of course, of planning, organizing, leading, and maybe controlling organization resources, why is it so important for us to talk about management? Why will it be so important for us to learn about management? What is the importance of management then? What is the importance of management? That is also another key item that we must always tend to ask ourselves. Importance of management. If at all you're asked to say or to give the importance of management. Already we've stated it in our definition. Mary, here is this good student of hospitality is coming to you asking what is the importance of management. What can you say, Mary?
Okay, it enables an organization to avoid wastage.
Good. Avoiding wastage. And avoiding wastage, that will lead us to that point where we're saying, talk about efficient resource utilization. Good. Benjamin, what do you think of what management is? What is the importance of management? Your thoughts?
It helps in ensuring there is output and good output in human resource.
Output and good output in human resource. That is also talk about that is also just managing our resources, efficient utilization of our resources. Branis, what do you think? Your thought on the importance of management?
It helps in achieving the organization's goals.
Helps in achieving organization goals. Good. So at this point, you'll find that Mwalimu has guided us, and I'll always guide you guys so that you can always adopt to this. You see, in the event that we are asked, or rather in the event that you're looking at the importance of management, I'll show you something here. In the event that you're asked, or if I told you to look at the importance of management, I'll always want us to adopt this method of answering the question. So give me the main point first. Don't give me paragraph. Give me the main point first, regardless of how it is going to come. But first of all, give me the main point first. Like all of us, we are explaining something of utilization of resources, but we are not giving it directly. You are giving me in form of paragraph. In that case, it will be very hard for me to try figure out more. So now you're looking at this marker. It will be very hard for this marker to try see what you're bringing in play. But if at all, in this case, you'll find that you just represent your concept talking about utilization, efficient utilization of resources, for example. Yeah, it's not supposed to be the exact words, but at least what Mwalimu is saying that at least there's a pointer. You give me point number 1. Already, I know this is your point. Efficient resource utilization. Then after this is so now you can give me all the paragraph that you want to give me, where you can talk of now management ensures that resources are used efficiently, where in this case, this will minimize the wastages, it will reduce maybe cost and maximize productivity. Now you explain whatever that you want to explain there, so long as you've given me what? The main pointer. Already, you've given me the main pointer. Now, I can go ahead and explain now whatever that I want to explain. Already, in that case, you've created a good positive attitude on this examiner. So, I'll repeat exactly what you've said. We've explained the resource utilization. So, I'm going to repeat exactly what you've said. So, at this point, you'll find that there's that effective utilization of resources, where we're seeing that effective management ensures that resources are used efficiently. And this will in turn reduces wastages. Also, it will help us to reduce our cost and maximize our productivity. That is very key item to understand. I'm having a pointer, then you explain that pointer. The other bit, of course, I'm repeating exactly what you guys will mention. Bernice has mentioned about achievement of organization goals. So you come and give it as a pointer. What you're looking at here is simply to achievement of organizational goals. You see, that's the main pointer here. Achievement of organizational goals. We have it there. After I'm having the main pointer, I can now go ahead and explain what this achievement entails, which will talk about what? Management is essential or is important, right? For setting and achieving organization goals. How are we going to achieve this? Of course, we are going to define clear objectives. We develop plans which will ensure that all these activities are coordinated in a way to achieve the set goals. You see, even if it's not the exact words, but already you've given me a pointer. So this is what Mwalimu is saying. We have it here. Just flow. you are going to grasp these strategies very well, and you'll find that they'll always be very important to us. So we read about achievement of organization goals, which below that, we read about it being essential. How is it essential? It is going to define the clear objectives and develop the strategic plans. Also, you'll find that it's going to ensure that all activities are aligned towards what? Towards the goals. That is all about coordination, right? Number three, importance. Number three, importance of course, management. It is from our definition. It's going to assist us to utilize our resources efficiently, which should mention that. The other bit we are talking about, look at this, whichever resources that you're managing, right? So in this case, you'll find that management will help us in strategic decision making. So you give it as a pointer, strategic decision making. Come give it here as a pointer. Strategic decision making. How will it help in this context? You'll find that management is always very crucial, right? For making informed decisions. Because at this point, managers will always analyze the data. They'll evaluate different alternatives and choose the best course of action on what they're supposed to do, right? Ensuring that whichever decision that you're making, it is aligning with the long-term goals of the organization. So I'm having a pointer. Then under the pointer, we explain it. As easy as that. Pole, to the point that you'll find that you'll be having all your points right? So you're about strategic decision making. I know you're having the same points, only like maybe Mwalimu is explaining it in a different manner, but I know we have the same points. Strategic decision making. You give me the main pointer, then we explain the same. The other key element that you can talk about here maybe is it will always tend to increase organizational efficiency and effectiveness. Of course, if at all, we have good managers on the same. So in this case, we are talking about pointer number 3. 4, that is 4. We are looking at it in a sense that this is 4. Increase in organization efficiency and effectiveness are very key to understand. How this be important to us, right? You'll find that management will ensure that organization processes are both efficient and effective. Efficient is about doing things right? And effective is all about doing the right things. I'm not sure if you've gotten that. Efficient is always about doing things right. That is what we normally tend to talk about, what? Being efficient. Whereas effective, we normally tend to talk about what? Doing the right things. See? So we're saying that management will increase in organizational efficiency and effectiveness. If at all you've lacked points, this point you can literally divide it into 2. If at all there's a point whereby you literally miss the points, you can literally divide that point into 2. So this is what Mwalimu is talking about here. That when we are talking about being management, talk about increase in organizational efficiency and effectiveness, we're saying that management ensures that organizational processes are both efficient, that is doing things right, and effective, doing the right things. This will always balance the leads to higher productivity, quality, and customer satisfaction, of course, driving out the overall success of the business. So that is important and very important for us to note. And we have so many other points that Mwalimu gave us in our notes. So these are just some of the points that we should always tend to do to understand. After we have talked of that, the next important thing will be now. What are the features of management, because they have some specific features which will be very key for us to understand. Talk about the features of management. Features. How can we look at this and say, like, this is good management? Features of management. So why should we have, what are these features of good management that we're talking about? Because the whole idea here is that we just want to look at the term it as nature, talk about roles, right? Talk about the features and the features of this management, and look at the roles, look at the nature of the management. In this case, in organizational processes. So that should take us to features of management. Talk about the features of management. And actually, before the features, is this element that Morimo is missing. Even before we proceed to the features of management, there's the levels of management, first of all. Understanding the levels of management. Understanding the levels of management. Levels of management. Even before we go to the features, I think it will be important for us to understand the levels of management. First of all, levels of management. Levels of management. This one is always very key, again, because it will give us, right, is going to, of course, give us a way where we can, of course, understand how our management is always categorized. So as always, someone can try. What do you think are the levels of management? Bernice, we start with you. What do you think are the levels of management? Yeah?
Top, middle, and lower.
Top, middle, and lower. Actually, Bernice summarized it for us. So we are looking at 3 levels. That is top level management. Talk about the top level management. So top level management. We can talk about middle level management and lower level management. So these are the 3 main levels of management that will always tend to talk about key main areas in terms of the levels of management. The top, middle, and lower. Top, middle, and lower. So let us start by, of course, looking at the top level management. Let us start by considering the top level management. See what this entails. Starting with the first level, which is a top level management. Top level management. I'll be giving you guys in summary. Top level management. So one thing that we need to understand anytime you are looking at the top level management, you'll find that basically it is always occupied by the ownership group. Like in this case, we are talking about those who own the business. Those who owns the business, occupied, of course, by the top. Talk about occupied by the ownership of the business, where the aspect of the titles, of course, of such guys will talk about the CEO, right? Talk about the CFO, talk about the chief operating officer, talk about board of directors. Literally, we are looking at majorly the ownership of the business. The ownership of the business. One thing that we need to understand on this are the responsibilities, right? Responsibilities of this level. I'll be giving you main pointers. the responsibilities for top level management. You say that, of course, this will constitute the aspect of the ownership of the management, like CFOs, CEOs, board of directors, all that. So key element to understand here is, what are their roles? What are the roles of this top level management? In a very summary manner. Number one, we normally talk about what? Strategic planning. Strategic planning. Because these are the guys who owns the vision of the company. These are the guys who owns the aspect of mission of the company. They need to give a clear direction on where the company should go. So when you are talking about strategic planning, you'll find that the main responsibility here is to develop long-term goals, vision and mission of organization. As simple as that. Don't go to so many stories. They're saying that at this point, amongst their role, responsibility number one, we're talking about these are responsibility number one. Responsibilities, I need to have it here. You say that strategic planning. This is number one. Strategic planning, where we're explaining that when you are talking about strategic planning, we are saying that they develop the long-term goals, vision and mission of organization. That is key to understand. Then the other point that you should also be able to understand here is that what are the other responsibilities? Number two, we can talk about these are the guys who formulate the policies, of course, to be adhered to the organization. So there's that aspect of policy formulation, right? In a sense that they establish the policies and make decisions that affect the entire organization, So we give it in a very simple point here, policy formulation. They establish the policies and make decisions that affect the entire organization in a very brief and summary manner. If at all you feel Mwalimu will need to explain further, kindly don't hesitate, ask. The other bit, you will find that amongst their roles, these are persons also who are charged with resource allocation. They're the one who to decide where are we going to allocate these resources, where are we going to place it. So that is also another key item here, which you should be, which you should focus on in terms of resource allocation. So at this point, you're agreeing that they allocate resources, which includes capital and human resource, to different departments. Straightforward as it is, resource allocation. So in this case, you'll find that they allocate resources. Organization can have so many resources, financial resources, the human resources that you're talking about. So it is a main key responsibility of course, this level of management to do such. The other bit that you can also talk about, of course, in relation to that is that they also do, right, represent the organization externally. That is, they kind of act as the image of organization. Also, the CEOs, right, they are always the image of the organization to external stakeholders. So that is important to note. So key pointer is representation. So you have your key pointer. You have your key pointer, external representation, where we are saying that they simply represent the organization to external stakeholders such as investors, government agencies, and public. And that's why many times you'll find that whenever there's an event, it is the CEO who will act as the image. You won't find like any other person, probably a CEO, talk about this top level management, are the persons who are going to act as the image of the organization. So that is key and very key to consider. We can talk about what we having so many responsibilities, by the way. Talk about they also give though it is almost a repetition, but you're giving it in a whole different point. They give direction to the organization direction. That is to say, they set the overall direction and ensure that our goals are aligning with the objectives that you're having. So that is what you should have. So this is what you're saying. We are looking at it, number 5 here. They said, talk about, we're looking at organizational direction. This is number 5. And so many other points, that you can always think of. Given the fact that you're looking at as a top level management as CFOs, CEOs, COOs, you just kind of think just outside the walls, kidogo. Try come up and look at it. What could be the role of the CEO? Give it there as you proceed. Give it there as you proceed. Give it there as you proceed. Now, after you've talked of that, that should take us to, of course, the middle-level management. Middle-level management. That should be this other part. Middle-level management. Given the fact that now we've understood what top-level management is. Benjamin, what can you give us your thoughts on mid-level management? What do you think this entails? Benja, your thoughts?
Implementing the directions and the guidance of the top management.
Very nice thought. I love the way you're looking at it. Very good. Mary, what is your thought in relation to the middle level management?
Pass.
No. We don't have that in class. No pass. You must give us something, Mary. You must give us something. What do you think? They should be something that you're thinking. Mary, I'm still on you. Give us something. What is your thought?
They act as a link between the top management and the lower level management.
You're having a point. Why were you saying pass, Mary? And you're having a very good point. Yeah, at some point, look at it as if they are the link, right? Because as we always tend to say, amongst the rules of the organization, you can't be a lower subordinate. You want to speak with CEO in the event that there's an issue. You have to follow the levels. Bernice, what is your thought? Bernice, you're on you. What is your thought in regard to that?
They participate in employment and training of the lower level management.
They participate in the training of the lower level management. I thought that you can look at it. If I told you to look at it, of course, in that case, simply whenever you're training, of course, you're giving these guys the rules and policy organization. So more the same as if they are implementing, of course, the top level decisions. So at this point, you'll find that the whole idea, using some of the words that you've basically described here, you'll find that the mid-level management, actually, they act as a linkage between the top level and, of course, the lower level. At the same time, they'll also tend to implement what the top level management basically has considered to be implemented. Top level, they make the rules. Middle level, they are implementing the same rules. So at this point, you'll find that we normally tend to talk about the departmental managers, right? Or talk about maybe these administrative officers. You see, these are the top level, these are the mid-level managers. So like once the top level has decided, it is upon them to implement. And it will be important for us to understand the roles, because that is the main thing, understanding the roles or maybe functions or maybe responsibilities played by these persons. So number one, you'll find that we normally tend to talk about implementation of the policies, because they are implementing what the top level management has stated. So here we are talking about implementing the policies. So this being our number one. Remember, these are responsibilities that we're talking about, roles or responsibilities. Responsibilities, or you can term it as roles. So these are what we're looking at. Implementation of the policies. That is to say, they execute the strategies and policies set by the top management, as straightforward as that. The other point here we read about maybe coordination, right? In terms of coordination, you'll find that they are simply the ones who are supposed to coordinate activities between different departments and ensure smooth workflow. That's why you're talking about the departmental managers. So here is what you're saying, that at this point you're talking about coordination. Another role that you can also agree is that many times these are the people who normally manages the resources, right? After it has been allocated, then you'll find that there are guys who are supposed to manage these resources in our organization. So that is also a very key pointer to note. We're talking about resource management. They manage resources within their departments effectively. The other role we can also share here is talk about reporting. They're the ones who are supposed to give feedback to the top managers of how things are, of the performance of the organization. So you'll find that also that will also be a very key pointer, where we're saying that they provide feedback and reports to top management on departmental performance and issues are very important to consider. The other part, you'll find that also the same managers, you'll find that they normally tend to lead when it comes to staff development. That is what Bernice, I think, was saying, training and the rest. So you'll find that at the same time, they'll also help in that. So responsible for hiring, training, and developing, of course, employees within their departments. So amongst so many other points, these are the main bit that you can talk about the middle level management. Some of the key points that you can fetch in relation to the middle level management. After that should take us to the lower level management. What about the lower level management here? We have it. We have the lower level management. Talk about lower level management. So lower level, hawa ndo wale huko chini kabisa. So what has happened? Just a moment. Lower level management. Shift F3. Okay. So when we are talking of the lower level management, then we have to understand that they are often referred to as operational or maybe first line managers or quality, making sure that things are being done. Talk about the supervisors, right? Talk about the foremen, talk about the first line managers. They're there to make sure that each and every activity is being done. They're there to supervise. You see, like simply, they're there to make sure that things are being done. So if I told you to look at the responsibility of this level of management, we're having so many responsibilities, but we'll just mention a few. So really about the responsibilities here. So looking at these responsibilities of this level of management, number one, we can agree that they are the one who manages day-to-day operations of the organization. That one we can say with a lot of confidence that we are talking about number one responsibility here. Day-to-day operations. What about that? They oversee daily operations and ensure tasks are completed efficiently. They ensure that tasks are completed efficiently. That is very key to note. The other point here we can talk about is supervision, right? The guys who will make sure that everything is being done. Yeah, unasema like kila wakati huyu mtu ako nyuma yako to make sure that these things are being done. To make sure that these things are being done. So you're about, of course, supervision. You're about supervision. That is key to consider. We're having the supervision. That is very key to consider. Supervision. So we're saying that they directly supervise and manage the work of non-managerial employees. Hao ndo wale watakimbiza, they're going to make sure that these things are being done, that things are being done, that things are being done. So that is important to consider. The other part you're having, of course, that is quality control, right? To monitor performance and maybe the quality of the work, ensuring that all these standards are being met. You see, all these are the types of aspects that you can talk about. So talk about quality control. Quality control. We're having our quality control here to be part of the responsibilities, where we are saying that they monitor performance and quality of work, ensuring that standards are being met. The other point in relation to this, because they are on the ground, they are also solving all these problems that will come about within our day-to-day activities. So the problem solving here, you can talk about problem solving, right? They address immediate issues and problems that arise during daily operations. That is very key to note. That is very key to note. What else? We have so many points that you can give. We have so many points that we can give. So that is important to note. So what we've done, we've simply summarized the levels of management: top level, middle level, lower level. At that point, I want to invite any question. Any question that you might be having, kindly, Mwalimu is here to respond to any of your questions where you feel like at this point, probably Mwalimu should explain more. You've not gotten the concept right. Mwalimu is here. Bernice, question?
Please scroll down, Mwalimu.
Sure, no worries. Up to where? Lower level?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, great. I need a question. No, you guys, you've not gotten the concept right. Mwalimu then is here to, of course, assist us. Okay, so if no question, then that should take us to this other bit of management. That is, we want to see how is this management, or rather, how is management related to all these other fields or discipline. So that should take us, of course, to the multidisciplinary nature of management. The multidisciplinary nature of management. Multidisciplinary nature of management. I think I'd share the past papers because also there are some key concepts that I will also be looking at from our past papers in relation to this. There are some key questions that, of course, we should be considering from our past papers. So, my good students, when you are talking about multidisciplinary nature of management, the whole idea here is that, yes, please.
We are based
Benjamin?
on the features of good management.
Pardon?
Features of good management. Before we get to
The features of
good management.
Before multidisciplinary.
Yes,
so when you're talking about the okay, sure. So you'll find that when we are talking about the features of a good management, there are always key main items that we must always tend to have. Like at this point, you'll find that number one, there'll always be that aspect of effective communication. Effective communication. That is always very key. Actually, let us just work it out here. Features of a good management. Features of good management. Can have it here. So, looking at these features of good management, we're saying that always you should always talk about number one, a good manager or management should always be having what? Effective communication. Give it as a pointer. Effective communication. So you're having here as effective communication being number one. The question would be how. The question would be how. So you'll find that at this point, they should always tend to maintain open and transparent communication channels, which will allow free flow of information and, of course, ideas from employees to the rest. Also, you'll find that at this point, good managers, right? They'll always tend to listen to the employees' feedback, talk about their concerns. They'll also look at their suggestions. See, these are all about communication. At the same time, you'll find that the aspect of whenever I'm passing a certain information, we should always tend to be very clear. That is in terms of the clarity. Whatever that you're saying, we should always tend to be very, very clear. So in that case, maybe you can also explain it in pointer forms, whereby you can talk about, of course, as Mwalimu has mentioned here, we're having effective communication in terms of the open channels. Key point, talk about open channels. Talk about the other bit that Mwalimu is talking about. We've said you should also be active listeners or good listeners. You should be very good listeners. We can also talk about the aspect of communication. Actually, for exams purposes, you can just mention one of it, or you can combine the whole of it in a statement. Mwalimu is giving us in pointers so that at least we just have it and understand it clearly. So we're about here the aspect of clarity. See, all these are what will build effective communication. So number one feature, key pointer, is effective communication. Maintaining open and transparent communication channels, which allows free flow of information. You'll find that they should also listen to the employees, and at the same time, in communication, they should always tend to be very clear, so that whatever that you're saying should not be misunderstood. And people, maybe they should start to do their own things. That is important. The other key item that can also define, of course, good management is efficient resource utilization. Efficient resource utilization, because in this case, you're having this responsibility to make sure that at least we are reducing our costs. And how are we going to reduce our cost and maximize our profitability? Of course, is to make sure that there is that effective use of our resources, efficient resource allocation. So we're having point number 2. We are talking about efficient resource allocation. Efficient resource allocation. What about efficient resource allocation? What about the aspect of to minimize wastages, right? So good managers should always tend to focus on reducing the waste and, of course, improving productivity of the organization. So that is a key item to consider. Also, you'll find that good management will also ensure that the resources are used efficiently and effectively. That includes human resource, financial resource, physical resource, all these items. So in this case, talk about the optimal use. If I told you to define it and have it here, we're having, of course, this other bit. The optimal use of our resources, where we're saying that, of course, good management ensures that resources, right, are used efficiently and effectively, of course. And at the same time, you'll find that they'll also make sure that there's that minimization of wastages. So that is key to note. Then, of course, the other bit that you can talk about here is that more so with these technological changes, right? Good management should always tend to be very adaptable and very flexible. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we are talking about adaptability and flexibility. Point number 3, adaptability and flexibility. Adaptability and flexibility. These are also a characteristic of features of good management, adaptability and flexibility. Remember, like nowadays, things are changing very fast. Today, you're having a certain concept. Tomorrow, when you wake up, things have already changed completely. So if at all you're very rigid, you'll find that even the growth of organization will be limited in a way. So you have to adapt to the new changes. You simply have to adapt to the new changes. So in this context, we are talking about good managers are adaptable and can effectively manage change, whether it involves new technologies, market conditions, organizations restructuring. You see, let's just be flexible. Let's just be flexible as managers. So this is what you're saying, that, of course, we are talking of good managers. Good managers are adaptable and can effectively manage change, whether it involves new technologies, market conditions, or organization restructuring. That is the main point that we should always tend to have. The other characteristic here of good management or good managers, you find that ethical, right, practices, they should always adhere to the ethical practices that are set in place. So in this case, you're having number 4, we are talking about, of course, the ethical practices. They should always tend to adhere to these principles, right? Where we're saying that good managers, or rather good management practices, are based on integrity, honesty, and ethical behavior. And they'll just be social responsible, right? Because people are looking at you. So they'll just be social responsible. Then the other key item that you can also talk about a good manager, these are team builder, right? Team building. Team building. Or rather talk about maybe number 5 here. Yeah, team builder. Team builder. Or rather team building. In a way, like a good manager should always handle conflicts effectively, ensuring that there's that harmonious and productive workplace. Also, a good manager should foster collaborative work environment where teamwork and cooperation are basically encouraged. You see, this is what will build a good manager. Actually, you can have it in this bit, divide it into maybe collaboration. Yeah, you can have it as part of, in regard to the team building. In regard to the team building, you're talking about collaboration, where we're saying that a good management fosters a collaborative work environment where teamwork and cooperation are encouraged. At the same time, there's that aspect of conflict resolution, right? They'll always tend to try to sort whichever conflict that has arose in the organization. Then nowadays also, guys should be creative, right? Innovative and creativity. Innovative and creativity. Innovative and creativity. Guys should be creative in a way. That is, if at all you want to be a very good manager, and of course make sure that at least organization is going as planned. So in this case, you can talk about that element of innovation and creativity. Some of these points, they'll always tend to flow if at all you want to think outside the four walls, kabisa, where we're saying that innovation in a way, like number 1, you must encourage good ideas, right? Whereby you'll find that good management should encourage innovation and creativity within the organization, allowing new ideas to flourish, in a sense that, this employee has a very good idea. Why, if at all it's sensible, why should we not try it, right? They should be very innovative and creative in a way. Also, at the same time, you'll find that in terms of innovation, it will always come with a risk, right? So in this case, those should be calculated risk, where whenever you fail, don't look at it as a failure. Then you start maybe complaining and tell yourself that I can't do this, I can't do this. No, just take that failure as a learning opportunity. You see, take the failure as a learning opportunity. You'll not just fail. Things have not gone basically just like that, but there's that learning item that you grasp on the same. Then maybe lastly, as much as you're having so many concepts, you got about good managers should also be accountable, or a feature of a good management should be accountable. So about accountability. Talk about accountability here. See, we're talking about accountability. Accountability. Very important, because like at this point, transparency, of course, is what will bring accountability, whereby good managers or management should maintain transparency in their actions and decisions. Fostering, the whole idea is all about trust, right? fostering trust and credibility. That is very important. The other aspect, you have responsibility. Good managers should take responsibility for their actions and decisions, holding themselves and their team accountable for the results. This is what we did. This is the outcome. We did this and we should accept our responsibility. Even if the outcome is negative, we should just accept that responsibility. And so many other points that you can talk about. So many other points that you can talk about in relation to the features of a good management, features of a good management. So that is what we should be having. Probably, I know by now you realize that whichever points that Monimu is giving us are the same that we had. So you'll find that I'm giving you in a very summarized manner, in a very, very summarized manner. That, of course, will help us a lot. Probably any other question? Any other question? Okay, great. So our analysis here, we are looking at, of course, the multidisciplinary nature of management. The multidisciplinary nature of management. In this case, all we want to establish is that we just want to look at how is management relating with all these other fields of study. How will it relate with all these other fields of study? Like we are having economics, we are having to talk about art, we are having aspect to do with psychology, sociology, talk about statistics and mathematics. How is management relating to that? That is what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at. So at this point, you'll find that we're having several items, which in this case, we can talk about management as a science, art, or a profession. Management, how is it a science? How is management an art? And how is management a profession? Because they always fall on the same concept. So you'll find that we can agree that management will relate with all these other fields. So let us start with talk about management as a science, art, or profession, which we'll be looking at it. Management as an art. Talk about management as an art, science, or what? Management as an art, science, or profession. As an art, science, or profession. See? So you'll find that management is all this. Management is simply an art. Management is simply a science. Management is simply a profession. Why? So you'll find that when you are talking about art, look at these musicians, right? At times one will sing to the point that you'll start crying. Yeah, to the point that you'll start crying. You'll hear this gospel, gospel music to the point that you'll just start crying on yourself, praising and worshiping. See? Because whoever who was doing this is an artist, right? Of course, with the influence of the Holy Spirit, majorly, of course, those that are always very good, there's always a spirit that will always influence that. For gospel is always Holy Spirit. So you'll find that a good gospel song, you'll find yourself hearing this music to the point that you can feel yourself just tapping your feet, right? You can hear yourself. At times, you can always tend to go to a point whereby you can cry. Why has it gone so emotional, right? Because there's that aspect of creativity part in it. right? There's that aspect of maybe something that has attached you with this music. It has taken you back, or it has made you to reflect probably on your life journey. And that's why you'll cry, and that's why you'll find yourself just tapping the shoes. So this is literally art, right? This is literally art. So through the experience, that is practical knowledge. So you'll find that if I told you to look at the elements of an art, essential elements of art, right? Essential elements of art, where we normally tend to talk about the practical knowledge, we're having the personal skills, we're having result-oriented approach about creativity. You're going to improve. If I told you you can compare these musicians, the time that they were starting and now, you'll find that there's a very big comparison. Why? There's that through continuous practice, they gain more experience and they learn more a lot. So this is what an art entails. And at that point, what I wish us to do with this, there's that part in our notes which I've given you. I want you to go basically go through that. Of course, Mwalimu will, of course, also look at this in a deeper perspective, but I wish you to go through that bit so that, of course, I can give you time to prepare. Sorry, we started our class late. Ideally, we normally supposed to start at 6 exactly. That should always be the case. It should always end at around 7:30 there, or around 7:40. Of course, to give us also time to do some other things before the next classes. So at this point, Mwalimu requests us to go through this part, management as an art, science, or profession, where you'll find that you'll be having an issue. You just let Mwalimu know to guide us. The target was for today for us to clear this topic, but yes, if we'll not do that, we've only remained with like 2 main concepts. The rest, I know it is very understandable. The qualities of an effective manager is as if we have looked at it. So the key item here is simply the roles of management that we have remained with in this topic. So that is what you can clear probably, meaning that next topic, in the next class, the target would be to clear this part and also clear topic number 2, which I know very well with these summary notes. And as you're going through that, we can clear topic, the remaining, that bit of that topic 1. It is something that will not take us like not more than 15 minutes. We should be through that. Plus what? Plus now the topic number 2. I know that one, we can clear it in our next class. That one, you can clear it in our next class. So to that point, guys, not unless there's a pressing question, I want to wish you guys a very good Sunday, and we plan to meet in our classes. Remember, the classes will remain as per our timetable, Saturdays, Sundays from 6 to around 7:40 thereabouts. That is Saturdays and Sundays. So make sure that you keep that in mind. We're going to try as much as possible to recover the other lost time. So unless there's a pressing question, Mwalimu will just want to wish us nothing but a very good Sunday. Any question? Great. So you guys have a good Sunday. See you in our next class. Bye-bye.